Oh, no, you didn't. Cue the intro.
Though I know I should be wary, still I venture someplace scary. Ghostly haunting, I turn loose. Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice!
So apparently during Mr. Tim Pool's 1 o'clock video today, he threw some shade at a Mr. Sam Harris over a tweet that Sam Harris put out linking to a New York Times op-ed debunking a lot of the questions about this election and what has been going on, as it has been contentious. Is it possible that President Trump could remain President Trump? Sure. Is it likely? No. And even Tim Pool has stated this multiple times as well. But one of the things that's going on, it's like, all right, you hear about fraud. Is there fraud? Yes, there is fraud. How do I know there's fraud? Because I've seen people charged with fraud. They got caught. Now, are there things that may slip through the system? Yeah. I've heard about there was an error where somebody messed up and, oh, look, 6,000 votes were supposed to go this way actually to President Trump. Okay, this is why we count the votes. If an audit is necessary, we audit it. Because you know what? Joe Biden, if he won fair and square, there ain't no problem. And it will get other people to stop complaining about things. Because we can actually deal with it and move on. But I do think this was actually very interesting because we see folks, including myself all the time, throwing shade against different people, this, that, or the other thing. This is one of the reasons why I say I am a terrible human being, even if I personally identify as a half-Jewish dragonkin on this internet of stuff and things. But let's take a real quick look at the clip. Timothy, go on.
And we've done 17 audits. We can say, what more do you want? It's better than doing nothing and being a snooty elitist. Which brings me to our resident snooty elitist, Sam Harris. Okay, maybe that's a little bit harsh, but Sam has got a blind, faith-like hatred for Donald Trump. I need to highlight this. I absolutely do, because this is the fundamental question here, and we'll read about the pollster and his explanation. Sam Harris says, why do so many Americans think the election was stolen, linking to a New York Times op-ed? Well, Sam isn't saying much himself. He's linking to the story from the New York Times, basically trying to debunk or call out people and say, oh, it's emotional and things like that. Well, let me tell you, first and foremost, the first and biggest reason why Americans think the election was stolen is, well, actually, no. Let me just throw it to Jeffrey Miller, who responded. Jeffrey Miller, of course, is an intellectual dark web type personality, psychology professor, very smart individual. He said, for what it's worth, maybe when conservatives see systemic anti-conservative bias in news, academia, publishing, movies, TV, and social media, which is all obvious yet denied by mainstream news, they might take the Bayesian bet that there could be anti-conservative bias in election systems.
So now, as far as systematic discrimination against conservatives, I hear about this all the time. Since a lot of these firms are based in Silicon Valley, which happens to be in California. California tends to be a bit more of a leftish state. Would it surprise me if there are certain folks that view the world a particular way? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. However, is that the main driving factor? Or could it potentially be the fact that when I pop into a lot of lefty streams, they'll just straight up say that, yeah, if I see somebody and I figure they're violating the terms of service, I report them. But I pop into more of a righty chat or stream, and all of a sudden you talk about reporting people and it seems like sacrilege. Oh no, we can't report those folks there. You just do a little activity. And for our conservative friends out there, just straight up, when was the last time you reported somebody? I'm just asking. I think that would account for a lot. Does it account for everything? Oh, absolutely not. I'm just saying that that's probably a driving factor there. But back to the clip.
Sam's response. But they are, in many of the relevant cases, attacking Republican election officials as though these officials were incentivized to perpetrate or conceal a massive fraud in favor of Democrats. Sam exposing his ignorance on the issue. And look, I got to be honest. Sam has what people would refer to as Trump derangement syndrome. Here's a story. Georgia election officials urged Trump to stop inspiring people to commit potential acts of blah, blah, blah. This is a tweet out from Sam Harris. Sam Harris, Barr says Justice Department hasn't uncovered any fraud. Sam very much has what we refer to as Trump derangement syndrome. The reason why I want to highlight Sam is that his response to Jeffrey Miller clearly shows his ignorance of the matter.
Now, I've been following Sam Harris, not religiously, pun intended there, but as far as things go, do I believe that at least for a while he was totally suffering from Trump anxiety disorder, which is the actual technical term that a lot of, I believe, therapists and stuff were using. I may or may not have looked into this for potential personal issues at one point, but yeah, no, I mean, I remember there was a chat where he had another gentleman on and was just like, okay, maybe Trump's not as bad as he thought there. Now, as far as things for the country and everything, were there some good things that he did, in my opinion? Sure. I mean, prison reform seems like a pretty good idea that was pretty much nonpartisan, as well as, well, some economic things. The economy did kind of pop up for a while and everything. But I think the big thing for millions and millions of Americans was a moral objection. And very often we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of policy saying, well, this is a bigoted policy, or, oh, this is terrible, or this is that. And are there issues? Yeah. But it's the sheer fact that we literally had our first S-poster-in-chief. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of Americans, they voted just because they didn't want to hear about the president being the story every single day. And to be fair to Sam as well, I think a lot of folks are trying to get back to a place of normalcy. I realize I'm saying this during times of plague, and it's very hard to tell what actual normal is anymore or what it actually will be, but these things are important as well. So just as far as it goes with Mr. Poole and Mr. Harris, there's a disagreement. I personally would love to see the two sit down, hash it out, and again, maybe it could be done via Skype, this, that, or the other thing. I mean, we have the technology. I'd be curious to actually see what happens in a discussion between two very prominent individuals, at least on the internet. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, you go all around, you guys call somebody a snooty, patootie, bada booty, or something like that. Yes, I'm ad-libbing, I'm adding things in there. But it's the sheer fact. It's like, okay, you're bringing a dude into it. Now I'm bringing you both into it as well. Why? Because I'd love to see you have a chat. Because I'm pretty sure, again, most folks are good people. If most folks are good people, we can figure this stuff out. So, just want to kind of highlight this and have a little bit of fun as we continue onward in these dark times. So, thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody, and long live the elbow bump.
Are we memeing ourselves into oblivion?
Yes.